Blessings, beautiful people from Walking Tall. It is Sunday here, and I am sitting next to a beautiful stream in the forest. And I was walking on my path just a bit ago, and my ancestors left me a very beautiful offering. You can see it here, a beautiful turkey feather. So when natives wear feathers, feathers are very sacred. The birds are considered portals and carriers from the physical realm and the spiritual realm. And so turkeys, osprey, we have the heron, we have the hawk, crow, all of the birds carry medicine. Everything in nature carries medicine. When our Creator created the universe, this goes back to the teaching on divine design, right? Is that before the first human ever set foot on this planet, there was Mother Earth, the original mother. And Mother Earth, in her ultimate design and creation, put everything together in harmony as it should be. She gave us the plants we would need to heal, the herbs we would need to heal. She gave us the different species of winged animals and footed animals and crawling scaled animals and swimming animals in the great sea. Everywhere she placed medicine for us to be able to heal ourselves. And if we think about the original human beings, the original ancestors, the natives on this planet, how in the world did they survive without prescriptions and pharmaceuticals and caged in boxes and ice cold hospitals? That's a very, very good question. They used their natural surroundings. They understood that harmony had to be maintained between man, bear, and the natural world, and the spiritual world. This is what we would call the medicine wheel, which is, I am in balance with the Great Spirit, with my Creator. I create time to connect and to receive wisdom and downloads and guidance from within my DNA and within my natural world, not from other men, okay, not from books, but directly from Spirit, from Source, from our Creator, from the universe. The medicine wheel also teaches I am in balance with myself. I am in harmony of mind, body, and spirit. I maintain integrity. I maintain character. You know what I stand for based on how I live my life. My actions speak for me, and they are in harmony and balance within myself. From there, we can say, it follows a natural cycle of, think of a tadpole, right? Or a butterfly, okay? Everything moves in a circular motion, right? The planet is cycling up through the solar system. Our life force energy, which we call Kundalini, coiled like a serpent at the bottom, the base of our spine. And when we open it and it starts to travel up through our spinal 33 vertebrae, it uncoils. But all energy, all motion is moving in this upward spiral of cycle, a circular motion moving upwards. So I'm in balance with Great Spirit. I'm in balance with myself. From there, I can evolve, mature, and be in balance with my community, my brothers and sisters. I can speak kind words to them. I can respect them as sovereign, holy beings, divine eternal sovereign beings living a physical experience. I'm just going to pause here because this is where, evolution of mankind, this is where we have a blockage. If we think of the collective as a chakra system, as a one unit, which we are, together we create a consciousness, and we're all connected through this consciousness. Everything is energy and waves and movement and sound, okay? And so, I've been thinking a whole lot about man versus bear. And what really is the question here? We have to look deeper, higher, eagle's eye view. What is the overarching issue that we are facing as humanity right now? What is the global condition? If we look at the medicine wheel, we can say with certainty, there is an imbalance in the circular flow of energy between humans. There's a disconnect. If there were balance, we would be asking questions like, how can we plant more biodiverse food forest? How can we convert our lawns into gardens that feed our families? Instead, we're asking questions that are very primal and basic, man versus bear. I've got a bigger question. When are we going to decide that we all come from one creator? That we all share the same DNA? That we all share the essence of life and life force energy? And that we are here to coexist in harmony, to recognize our shared origin story. We can find it in the DNA. That we are in balance within ourselves, and we love ourselves, and we care about ourselves. Because if we love and care about ourselves, we would never be asking questions of man versus bear. We wouldn't be violently attacking one another. We wouldn't be stripping choices from human beings. We wouldn't be passing draconian laws and unconstitutional laws to control our God-given birthright, which is my body, my choice, my soul, my choice, my mind, my choice. We were designed with free will. We were designed with advanced brains and a consciousness that is connected to all beings. If it wasn't so, we would be like the bear, who has no capability to think in an evil way, which is why bears and wild animals don't premeditate laws. They don't premeditate vicious propaganda and verbal attack against women. Bears and wolves and deer, they don't sit around thinking about how they can choke someone's voice and take away their power. They operate in a natural state of unity and harmony with one another, which is why our natural surroundings are so beautiful. All of our answers are in nature. I saw a post on UN Women, and again, regurgitating the question man versus bear. I just spent 3 weeks in the backcountry of the National Forest in North Carolina, 3 weeks alone with a basic tent, no stove, my bare feet, one blanket. I was called on Vision Quest, and my spirit team is always, their timing is always divine. You know, I don't question, because it's not my life to live. I am merely being a vessel, an instrument to be used to share wisdom with the greater collective. And so I spent 3 weeks living in the woods in a tent, barely eating. I was fasting. I was spending time with crow, with heron, with osprey, with deer, with dragonfly, with cicada. I was receiving wisdom and teachings. I was in my final initiation as a shaman. I carry a 7-inch blade knife on my hip at all times. That is what I carried with me. I barely had any clothing on during this time, okay? Now, I was the only woman camping alone, and I typically am, because of the false fear narrative that our leaders and our culture places on women, okay? So I'm out in the middle of the forest in the wilderness, and one day I meet a local couple, very, very sweet couple. The man's name is Bob, and his girlfriend's name is Ashley. Now, they are blue-collar workers. They don't have advanced education or college degrees. The most down-to-earth individuals I've met in a really long time. And we spent one night about 200 yards from one another in the forest. And we spent a lot of time talking, quite a few hours talking. And I always am curious and inquisitive about my brothers and sisters' experiences and their beliefs, and, you know, why they feel the way they feel and what's important to them. And, you know, we talked about starving and barely being able to afford groceries, and how the last 3 years their grocery bill has tripled in price. And I talked about the yo-yo, the puppet master effect of the commodities market, and how our leaders use, you know, global genocide and pandemics to kill us even further at the checkout. But my brother Bob, he said something that really resonated with me. We were talking about monsters and monstrous behavior, because only a monster would attack another human being for their own gain and their own power, to take something from them that does not belong to them. That being sex, that being reproductive rights, voting rights, the right to work, the right to travel, the right to own a home, all these things, right? That's monstrous behavior. That is not natural. A natural man or woman would respect the sovereignty, which is, I own this body, I own this spirit, I own this mind, and I get to make decisions that I see best. And so we got to talking about school system, you know, and they said, we don't know if you know Walking Tall, but North Carolina ranks at like the bottom of the public school system. And I was listening and asking questions, tell me more. And, you know, we shared our concerns about the safety of our children, about the sovereignty of our children and their minds. Who is raising them? Who are these teachers? Who are these people that, you know, are given these positions to teach our children? Is it teaching? It's regurgitated. Remembering is what it is. But we were talking about violence and how violence didn't used to exist in schools. And now parents are terrified to send their children to public schools. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. And he had a very good idea about how to address the broken epidemic, the pandemic, epidemic, the plague of monsters committing crimes against children and other human beings in general. And he said, the parents should be punished too, equally so. And my eyes lit up and I said, now Bob, that's a brilliant idea. Think about it. Again, children are not born monsters. They are broken and they are violated by priests, pastors, teachers. The people where they spend those authority figures where they spend 8 hours a day with, okay, and their parents at home, all right? So all these places, children are being broken and violated sexually, and they never, ever, most people never, ever find complete healing from this, okay? Sexual abuse in childhood. But these children whose parents are not protecting them, whose parents are actually violating them, the parents, the adults who are continuing cycles of abuse and ancestral trauma, they should be held accountable to Walking Tall. And I said, I agree with you 100%. Imagine. And I said, this goes to, we have to incentivize the behavior we want to see in the world. We have to create a norm. We have to create a new norm of existing in the world and take a united stand against violations against children. This is the root. This is the root of the broken society, is the children, and helping and protecting the children. So you have a gunman, you have sexual predators, rapists. These monstrous acts against other human beings, their parents should be tried too. I 100% agree. We have to incentivize parents to raise their children in the light. And what this really is, the bigger question, it's not man versus bear. It's light versus darkness. It's good-hearted people versus evil-hearted people. Now, foundationally, from a political standpoint, how do we make change in our society? We have to burn the broken system. And what does that mean? Well, everywhere we see people in power, leaders in power, positions of power, are not being held accountable. We could start by removing sexual predators, convicted sexual predators from the Supreme Court. We could start by sending ex-presidents who are convicted sex offenders to prison. We could start by not reversing guilty verdicts of sexual predators. We could start by creating a universal database. Just like we have for the healthcare system, it's called PHI. Spent a lot of time in healthcare security in the cloud. And the idea is that we create a connected social network of records. So if an individual wants to be a teacher, the first thing that is run is a pedophilia background check. The second thing that's run is a members only, fans only check. And fans only, CEO, this message is for you. The fact that your records aren't public is a severe cancer in our society. There needs to be legislation that makes your records accessible to any employer seeking information on a hiree. So, convicted sex offender background check, fans only background check. These need to be enacted at a federal level, federal mandates for hiring teachers, counselors, healers, pastors, nonprofits. Y'all are under the arm of the federal government, nonprofits, in publicly funded institutions. This is our right as a people to demand that these systems be put into place, that they be built. Teachers, pastors, licensed individuals, the accountants, lawyers, anyone that has to have a license exam, and politicians. Okay? These are very, very simple mandates. Very simple. You know, if President Biden wanted to make a real change in his presidency, he could sign some of this into law. He could start by creating systems that work and checkpoints that work. So we can all log into an online database, look up a teacher, look up a licensed professional, look up a federally funded institution or nonprofit, and say, what are these people about? How many churches have they hopped around to? How many school districts have they used to be predators against children? Very simple fixes. So if we really want change in this society, we have to ask bigger questions. Why aren't our leaders, the politicians that we elect, why aren't they writing laws and legislature to fix the problem, to safeguard our children? Why? These are very, very, very basic questions. It's not man versus bear. It's good versus evil. It's power versus love. It's light versus darkness. The other thing I would recommend is, you know, what is a public servant? The original intended public servant is one who, as an act of service to his community, represents, you know, if we look at the native community structure, it was leaders were chosen based on the goodness of their heart, their integrity, their word, their bravery, their courage, and these were the traits that we looked for to choose our leaders, and it was a group effort. Now, if we simply say, if you want to be a public servant, you cannot take money from corporations. You cannot be a shareholder in stock of corporations in the commodity market. You cannot, because you cannot remain neutral in that scenario. The current structure is incentivizing politicians to put money and greed and power over the role of protecting and serving groups of individual people, okay? I want to read a little bit to you all here. Thank you for joining Soul Sessions. There's Soul. Today we're reading from Touch the Earth. A local community member brought this book to me, and such a gift. Very beautiful. Touch the Earth, which is touch the Mother. Okay, so I want to read to you here. Every shaman, an Indian holy man, has his own particular song, which he sings when calling up his helping spirits. This was a song of Uvavanak, an Eskimo woman shaman, celebrating the joy of being moved by nature. To the Indian, writes Natalie Curtis in the Indian's book, song is the breath of the spirit that consecrates the act of life. This is her song. The woman shaman, this is her song. I want to share it with you. The great sea has sent me adrift. It moves me as a weed in a great river. Earth and the great weather move me, have carried me away, and move my inward parts with joy. The great sea has sent me adrift. It moves me as the weed in the great river. Earth and the great weather move me, have carried me away, and move my inward parts with joy. This is from Chief Seattle, chief of the Duwamish, upon surrendering his land to Governor Isaac Stevens in 1855. To us, the ashes of our ancestors are sacred, and their resting place is hallowed ground. Addressing the government commissioners at Warner's Hot Springs at the turn of the century, Cecilio Blacktooth speaks about why her people would not surrender their land. We thank you for coming here to talk to us in a way we can understand. It is the first time anyone has done so. You ask us to think what place we like next best to this place where we have always lived. You see the graveyard out there? There are our fathers and our grandfathers. You see that Eagle Nest Mountain and that Rabbit Hole Mountain? When God made them, He gave us this place. We have always been here. We do not care for any other place. We have always lived here. We would rather die here. Our fathers did. We cannot leave them. Our children were born here. How can we go away? If you give us the best place in the world, it is not so good for us as this. This is our home. We cannot live anywhere else. We were born here, and our fathers are buried here. We want this place and not any other. There is no other place for us. We do not want you to buy any other place. If you will not buy this place, we will go into the mountains like quail and die there. The old people, the women, and the children. Let the government be glad and proud. It can kill us. We do not fight. We do what it says. If we cannot live here, we want to go into the mountains and die. We do not want any other home. May the Great Spirit, may God, may the Creator be with you all this week. May we ask bigger questions. May we look deeper into the brokenness of this society and see what we can do as a collective for our children, for our future children, for our future leaders, for the future of this great Mother Earth, the only Mother Earth there is, that has all we need to live peaceful, happy, and joyful lives. It's all around us. It's all within us. So much love to all of you. I have a very exciting week of classes and offerings. I encourage all of you to visit the link in my bio. My summer calendar is now open if you would like to work with me one-on-one, empowerment coaching, spiritual healing, nature-based retreats, virtual Reiki healing. You can find my calendar and you can book a session. The link is in my bio. And I'm here for you all, always connected through my heart and the Great Mother. So much love to you all. Remember, it's not man versus bear. It's love versus power. It's truth versus deceit. It's light versus darkness. Stay true to yourself.